The Trump Empire. How one family built wealth, power, and an American dynasty. 1. The seed of an empire. The Trump story begins with a boy running away from a small German village. In 1885, Friedrich Trump was only 16 when he boarded a ship alone and headed toward a country he had never seen. He carried no wealth, no connections, only a belief that America could turn ambition into fortune. He arrived in New York at a time when the country was wild, hungry, growing, and filled with risk. Friedrich spent his early years working the kind of jobs immigrants usually took: barbering, dishwashing, and kitchen work. But he watched people. He watched cities grow, and he began to understand something simple and powerful. Money follows people, and people go where opportunity lives. This idea would become the foundation of the Trump dynasty. 2. The gold rush gamble. By the 1890s, tens of thousands rushed to the American Northwest in search of gold. They wanted treasure. They wanted a miracle. Friedrich Trump didn't want gold. He wanted the people looking for it. He traveled to the edge of the Yukon Territory and opened restaurants, hotels, and service lodges. These were places where exhausted miners could sleep, eat, and spend their night. They were rough establishments, but they were profitable. Very profitable. This is where the first Trump fortune was built. Not from gold itself, but from those seeking it. By the time he returned to New York in the early 1900s, Friedrich Trump was no longer a poor immigrant. He was a man with capital, ready for the next chapter. 3. Fred Trump, the developer who built a mini-empire. Friedrich's son, Fred Trump, became the architect of the family's real wealth. Bright, disciplined, relentless, Fred began building homes before he was even legally old enough to sign contracts. He studied construction costs, market demand, and government programs with near mathematical precision. During the Great Depression, when many companies collapsed, Fred saw opportunity in low-cost housing. He used federal loans to build thousands of affordable homes and apartment complexes across Brooklyn and Queens. He created projects for middle-class families, returning soldiers and city workers. By the 1950s, Fred was a major figure in New York real estate. He was respected, feared, and extremely successful. His empire was not glamorous, but it was massive, profitable, and stable, and he raised his children to think like builders, especially his bold, outspoken son, Donald John Trump. Donald Trump, the showman, arrives. Donald grew up in a world of model homes, construction sites, and property deals. But unlike his father, he wasn't fascinated by ordinary buildings. He wanted scale. He wanted attention. He wanted Manhattan, the capital of American ambition. After college, Donald told his father plainly, "Queens and Brooklyn are too small for me." Armed with his father's financial backing and business connections, Donald pushed his way into Manhattan's real estate world, a world dominated by older, wealthier, and deeply established players. But Donald had something they did not: a flair for drama. 5. The Manhattan Conquests. In the 1970s, New York City was nearly bankrupt. Crime was high. Hotels were failing. Buildings were abandoned. And yet, Donald Trump saw what others could not: a city with potential for revival. His first major win came with the Grand Hyatt Hotel, a dying hotel that he turned into a shining modern landmark. He secured unprecedented tax breaks from the city and financing from big banks, all while persuading investors that he could revive Midtown. And it worked. But the defining moment of his early career was Trump Tower, a sleek, black glass skyscraper rising on Fifth Avenue, filled with luxury apartments, gold accents, expensive boutiques, and a waterfall inside the atrium. Trump Tower instantly became more than a building. It became a symbol of 1980s American luxury. 6. Casinos, wealth, and bankruptcy battles. Success in Manhattan pushed Trump toward an even riskier industry: casinos in Atlantic City. He built Trump Plaza, Trump Castle, Trump Taj Mahal. They were glamorous but unbelievably expensive, and they were built on mountains of debt. Some casinos succeeded, others collapsed. Trump faced multiple corporate bankruptcies, but he always protected himself personally through aggressive negotiations, restructuring deals, and fierce survival instincts. He managed to stay afloat. His businesses struggled at times, but his name grew louder. 7. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Donald Trump discovered his greatest asset: his last name. Developers around the world were willing to pay millions simply to put the word Trump on their buildings. He didn't always own the hotels or towers. He licensed the name, a low-risk, high-profit model. And it worked. The Trump name became a global luxury brand. This pivot from developer to brand dramatically increased his wealth and influence. Trait: television fame and cultural power. In 2004, Trump entered a new arena: television. The Apprentice instantly became a national hit. Every week, millions watched him judge contestants and fire them with the now iconic phrase, "You're fired." The show resurrected his image, expanded his business reach, and made him a pop culture figure. Brand deals multiplied. Public appearances surged. His influence soared. 9. When Trump announced his candidacy in 2015, the world reacted with disbelief and then fascination. He used his television fame, his powerful brand, his media instincts, his outsider messaging, his polarizing charisma. And in 2016, he shocked the political world by winning the presidency of the United States. Trump became the first billionaire to occupy the Oval Office. 10. The real Trump fortune, where it comes from. The Trump family's wealth comes from several major streams. 1. Early business ventures from Friedrich Trump hotels and restaurants during the gold rush. 2. Massive real estate development from Fred Trump, middle-class apartment complexes across New York. 3. Manhattan developments by Donald Trump, Trump Tower, Trump International Hotel, and others. 4. Branding and name licensing, the Trump name on buildings worldwide. 5. Media, books, and television, especially The Apprentice. 6. Golf courses, hotels, and hospitality, projects across the U.S., Scotland, and other locations. 7. Political influence, which dramatically increased the visibility and value of the brand. 11. The Trump Dynasty. Today, Donald Trump's children, Don Jr., Ivanka, Eric, and Tiffany, have become business and political figures themselves. They manage the Trump Organization, oversee international projects, and continue expanding the brand. Love them or hate them, the Trump family remains one of the most influential dynasties in America, with a reach that spans real estate, media, entertainment, and politics. Conclusion: the making of an American power family. From a 16-year-old immigrant barber to a real estate developer in Queens, to a skyscraper-building showman in Manhattan, to the presidency of the United States. The story of the Trump family is one of ambition, branding, calculation, survival, and reinvention. It is the story of an empire, shaped by risk, opportunity, and a name that became larger than the man who carried it. This is the Trump dynasty, and its story is still being written.